Once upon a time, in a cozy village called Abu, there lived a couple named Chukwudi and Nkechi. They were overjoyed when they were blessed with twin daughters, whom they named Adama and Chioma. Adama, the older of the two, was born with an extraordinary intellect. From a very young age, she showed a love for learning and a sharp mind that set her apart from her peers. She could solve puzzles and understand complex ideas with ease. However, despite her intelligence, Adama didn't have the same striking looks as her sister. Chioma, on the other hand, was gifted with breathtaking beauty. Her smile was like sunshine, and her skin glowed with warmth. People couldn't help but be drawn to her radiance wherever she went. But while Chioma had beauty in abundance, she struggled to keep up with her sister's intelligence. Schoolwork often left her feeling confused and frustrated. As the twins reached the age of 10, their differences became even more apparent. Adama continued to excel in her studies, earning top marks in every subject. Her wisdom and intellect were admired by everyone in the village. Meanwhile, Chioma's beauty seemed to shine brighter with each passing day, captivating the hearts of all the villagers. Adama often felt overlooked and unappreciated because of her plain appearance, while Chioma struggled with feelings of inadequacy in the shadow of her sister's brilliance. Their parents, Chukwudi and Nkechi, tried their best to encourage and support both of their daughters, but it was challenging to balance their needs and aspirations. As the twins, Adama and Chioma, grew up in the village of Abu, everyone couldn't help but notice how stunningly beautiful Chioma was. People loved being around her because she lit up the room with her smile. This made Adama sometimes feel really envious of her sister's beauty. Sometimes she would lock herself in her room and cry. One day, when Adama was feeling especially sad, her mother came to her. "Adama, my dear, why are you crying?" her mother asked with concern. Adama sniffled and wiped away her tears. "It's not fair. Everyone loves Chioma because she's so beautiful, but nobody pays attention to me because I'm not pretty like her," Adama replied sadly. Her mother hugged her tightly and said, "Oh, my sweet Adama, don't ever think that way. You are special just the way you are. You may not have Chioma's beauty, but you have something even more amazing, your intelligence. You're the smartest girl in our village, and that's something to be proud of." Adama's eyes widened with surprise. "Really, Mom?" she exclaimed. "Yes, really," her mother replied with a smile. "Your intelligence is a gift, just like Chioma's beauty. Embrace who you are, my dear. You are unique and wonderful in your own way." Adama hugged her mother back, feeling a warmth spread through her heart. From that day on, whenever she felt envious of her sister's beauty, she remembered her mother's words and felt proud of her own intelligence. As Adama embraced her intelligence and found pride in who she was, Chioma's feelings took a different turn. Despite her radiant beauty, she couldn't shake the envy she felt toward her sister's intellect. Seeing Adama excel in her studies and earning admiration from the villagers only fueled Chioma's jealousy. Instead of celebrating her sister's achievements, Chioma found herself joining others in mocking Adama. She would make fun of Adama's plain appearance, belittling her for not being as beautiful as her peers. This behavior shocked and saddened their parents, Chukwudi and Nkechi, who tried desperately to bring their daughters together. Chukwudi and Nkechi spoke to Chioma, urging her to see the value in her sister's intelligence and to appreciate the unique qualities that made Adama special. But despite their efforts, Chioma remained resentful and distant, unable to accept her sister for who she was. Adama, hurt by her sister's actions, tried to reach out to Chioma, offering her love and understanding. But Chioma's envy and insecurity clouded her judgment, and she pushed Adama away, unwilling to acknowledge her as anything more than a reminder of her own shortcomings. Despite the tension between them, Adama refused to give up on her sister. She continued to show Chioma kindness and compassion, hoping that one day her sister would see beyond their differences and embrace the bond they shared as twins. As time went by, Adama and Chioma's fight got worse. Chioma's jealousy made her act mean to Adama, and they drifted apart like never before. Then one night, when the village was all peaceful, disaster struck. A big storm hit Abu, wrecking homes and ruining crops. People were left with nothing, but instead of hiding, Adama jumped into action. She used her smarts to help everyone. She organized help, gave out food, and made sure everyone had what they needed. Meanwhile, Chioma watched, feeling jealous of her sister. She wondered why Adama always had to be the one in charge, and why she thought she knew everything. But as time went on, Chioma started to change. Seeing her sister's kindness made something click inside her. One day, she went to Adama, tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry, Adama," she said, choked up with emotion. "I've been wrong. Your intelligence and kindness are way more beautiful than anything I have." Adama hugged her sister tight, tears of happiness rolling down her cheeks. "It's okay, Chioma," she said gently. "We're different, but we're still sisters, and together we can overcome anything." When the king heard about Adama's incredible deeds and how she helped the villagers, he was amazed. He couldn't believe how smart and kind she was. So he invited her to the palace to meet him. Adama was so honored and excited. She dressed up in her best clothes, feeling like a true princess. When she arrived at the palace, the king was so impressed by her that he offered her a scholarship to study at any school she wanted. Adama couldn't believe it. She was going to get to study and learn even more. Before she knew it, Adama became a celebrity in her village. Everyone talked about her and admired her for all the wonderful things she had done. But as Adama's fame grew, so did Chioma's jealousy. Little by little, she started to feel envious of her sister's success. As Adama's fame spread beyond the village, Chioma's envy turned into bitterness. She couldn't bear the thought of her sister being praised while she remained unnoticed. But instead of confronting her feelings, Chioma buried them deep inside, letting them fester and grow like a poisonous weed. Meanwhile, Adama continued to shine bright, grateful for the opportunities the king's scholarship had given her. She immersed herself in her studies, eager to learn and grow with each passing day. But even as she thrived academically, Adama couldn't shake the sadness she felt over her strained relationship with her sister. She longed for the bond they once shared, hoping that one day Chioma would find it in her heart to let go of her jealousy and embrace their sisterhood once again. Little did she know, their relationship was about to face its greatest test yet. One sunny day, as Chioma was heading out to meet a friend, she caught the eye of Prince Obi, who had just returned from the city. Instantly, he was smitten by her beauty. Excitedly, Prince Obi rushed back to the palace and described Chioma to the palace guards. "I saw the most beautiful girl today," he exclaimed. "She has the most mesmerizing smile and the most radiant presence." The palace guards listened intently, nodding in agreement. "Yes, my prince," they replied. "She is the daughter of Chukwudi and Nkechi, a well-respected family in our village." Prince Obi's eyes widened with surprise. "Wow, they have a daughter as stunning as her?" he exclaimed in amazement. "Yes, my prince," the guards confirmed. "But they also have another daughter, who may not be as beautiful, but she is incredibly intelligent. She's the girl your father, the king, granted a scholarship to." Prince Obi nodded, remembering his father's words. "Oh, I remember now," he exclaimed. "What an amazing family. I would love to meet them and see where they live." "Don't worry, my prince," the guards assured him. "I will take you to their house first thing tomorrow morning." "Thank you," Prince Obi said gratefully, his heart racing with excitement. He couldn't wait to meet the family of the girl who had captured his heart. The next morning, Prince Obi was super excited to visit Chioma and Adama's house with the palace guards. As they walked through the village, Prince Obi couldn't wait to meet the sisters everyone was talking about. When they arrived at the cozy home of Chukwudi and Nkechi, Prince Obi was impressed by its simplicity. The family welcomed him warmly, making him feel right at home. As Adama greeted Prince Obi with her usual smartness and kindness, Chioma couldn't help but feel a bit jealous. She noticed the way Prince Obi's eyes lit up when he saw Adama, and it made her feel a little sad. Throughout the day, Prince Obi enjoyed getting to know the family. He was amazed by Adama's intelligence and charm. But every time he glanced at Chioma, he sensed something was bothering her. As the day went on, Chioma tried to hide her feelings with a smile, but Prince Obi could tell something was wrong. When it was time to leave, Chioma put on a brave face, but deep down she felt a mix of emotions. She couldn't help but wonder if her sister would always steal the spotlight. As Prince Obi said goodbye and left, Chioma couldn't help but wonder why her sister Adama always seemed to be liked by most people, even though she knew she was more beautiful than her. The next day, when Prince Obi saw Chioma, she felt a jumble of different feelings, completely, because she still felt upset about how he seemed to like her sister more. But another part of her was curious to hear what he had to say. As Chioma tried to sneak away without being noticed, Prince Obi rushed after her, his face looking worried. "Chioma, wait! Let me explain," he pleaded, sounding urgent. Chioma stopped reluctantly, turning to face the prince with a guarded look. "What do you want to explain?" she asked, sounding a bit angry. Prince Obi took a deep breath, thinking carefully about what to say. "I know you're mad, and I get why. But believe me when I say that I like you, not your sister," he said seriously. Chioma's eyes widened in surprise at his honesty. "But why were you smiling at her and talking to her so much yesterday?" she asked, sounding frustrated. The prince sighed, realizing that he had hurt Chioma without meaning to. "I admit, I might have given you the wrong idea, but I promise you, I wasn't paying attention to your sister because I like her more. It's because I care about both of you," he explained gently. Chioma wasn't sure what to think, feeling torn between doubt and hope. "How can I trust you?" she asked quietly. Prince Obi stepped closer, looking at her with determination. "Because I'm telling you the truth. You're the one I really like, Chioma," he declared, sounding sincere. Chioma thought for a moment, feeling a mix of emotions inside. Then, a small smile appeared on her face. "Well, you better not make me jealous again," she said teasingly. The prince grinned in relief, happy to see Chioma starting to feel better. "I promise I won't," he vowed, looking determined. As they walked back to the village together, Chioma felt a flutter of excitement in her heart. Maybe, she thought to herself, this was the start of something special. After Prince Obi and Chioma started dating, he began to notice some things about her. He realized that she could be disrespectful, didn't like cooking, and spent a lot of time making herself look flashy with makeup and going out. At first, Prince Obi tried to ignore these things, hoping that Chioma would change. But as time went on, the issues became harder to ignore. He found himself feeling frustrated and disappointed by Chioma's behavior. One day, they got into a big argument. Prince Obi tried to talk to Chioma about his concerns, but she became defensive and refused to listen. They shouted at each other, their voices echoing through the room. Chioma accused Prince Obi of trying to change her, while he felt like she wasn't taking their relationship seriously. It seemed like they were at a standstill, unable to see eye to eye. After the argument, Prince Obi felt torn. He cared about Chioma, but he also knew that their relationship couldn't continue like this. He wondered if they could find a way to work through their differences, or if it was time to go their separate ways. Meanwhile, Chioma was also feeling upset. She didn't understand why Prince Obi was making such a big deal out of things. She felt hurt that he didn't accept her for who she was. As they both took some time to cool off, they realized that they needed to have a serious conversation about the future of their relationship. They knew that they had to be honest with each other if they wanted to find a way forward. And so, as they sat down to talk, they both knew that their relationship was at a crossroads. They would have to decide whether they were willing to make compromises and work through their issues, or if it was time to say goodbye. One day, the king sent for Adama because he was struggling to solve some difficult puzzles. When she arrived at the palace, he was amazed at how quickly she was able to figure them out. The prince, who was also there, couldn't help but be impressed by her intelligence. "Wow, Adama, you're really smart," the prince exclaimed, giving her a round of applause. Adama smiled modestly, thanking them both for their praise. They ended up talking for a while, discussing everything from the puzzles to their favorite subjects in school. After Adama left the palace, Prince Obi couldn't stop thinking about her. He found himself admiring her intelligence and kindness more and more with each passing day. As time went on, Prince Obi realized that he was starting to develop feelings for Adama. He couldn't explain it, but there was something about her that drew him in like a magnet. But as much as he tried to ignore his feelings, Prince Obi couldn't deny the growing attraction he felt towards Adama. And so, he found himself facing a new dilemma: how to navigate his newfound feelings while still being respectful to Chioma. When Chioma found out that Adama and Obi were now best friends, she felt a pang of jealousy. "Obi, why are you spending so much time with Adama?" she asked, her voice tinged with hurt. Prince Obi, feeling torn between his girlfriend and her sister, sighed deeply. "Chioma, Adama is your sister, and she's my friend too. But I don't have anything to do with her," he explained gently. Chioma's jealousy turned into guilt as she realized she had been too possessive. "I'm sorry, Obi. I trust you," she said, reaching out to hold his hand. Prince Obi smiled warmly, relieved that Chioma understood. "Thank you, Chioma. I appreciate your trust," he replied, squeezing her hand affectionately. Meanwhile, Adama couldn't shake off the feeling of jealousy as she watched Chioma and Prince Obi together. Why does Obi spend more time with Chioma now? She wondered, feeling left out. One day, when Prince Obi came to visit, Adama pretended that Chioma wasn't home, even though she was sleeping peacefully in her room. When Prince Obi found out the truth, he was really angry at her. "Adama, why did you lie to me?" Prince Obi exclaimed, his voice filled with disappointment. "Chioma is your sister, and I thought we were family." Adama felt a pang of guilt as she looked into Prince Obi's eyes. "I'm sorry, Prince Obi. I was just jealous," she confessed, feeling ashamed. Prince Obi sighed, feeling hurt by Adama's actions. "Jealousy won't solve anything, Adama. You need to trust me," he said sternly. Adama nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. "I promise, Prince Obi, I'll never lie to you again," she vowed sincerely. As Chioma noticed the strain her jealousy had put on her relationship with Prince Obi and her sister Adama, she decided to take action. Determined to show Prince Obi that she was willing to change, Chioma began spending more time helping her mother in the kitchen. With each passing day, Chioma learned new recipes and cooking techniques from her mother. She chopped vegetables, stirred pots, and seasoned dishes with care. Despite the occasional mishaps and burnt dishes, Chioma persisted, determined to improve her culinary skills. Prince Obi noticed the change in Chioma's behavior and was pleasantly surprised to see her newfound dedication to learning how to cook. He admired her willingness to step out of her comfort zone and make an effort to better herself. One day, as Chioma proudly presented a homemade meal she had prepared for Prince Obi and Adama, Prince Obi's eyes lit up with delight. "Chioma, this looks amazing," he exclaimed, taking a bite of the delicious dish. "You've really outdone yourself." Chioma beamed with pride, feeling a sense of accomplishment wash over her. One day, when Adama returned home from the farm, she was fuming with anger. Her mother noticed her daughter's furrowed brow and asked, "What happened, Adama? Why are you so upset?" Adama huffed, crossing her arms in frustration. "I'm mad because the prince celebrated his birthday a few days ago, but he didn't invite me to join the celebration. He only invited Chioma, his girlfriend. And to make matters worse, Chioma never even told me," she exclaimed, her voice filled with indignation. Her mother listened carefully, understanding her daughter's feelings. With a gentle smile, she offered some advice. "Adama, my dear, it's not good to be jealous. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, focus on what you do have. Your friendship with Prince Obi is special, even if you weren't invited to his birthday celebration," she said reassuringly. Adama sighed, realizing her mother was right. "You're right, Mom. I shouldn't let jealousy ruin our friendship," she admitted, feeling a sense of relief wash over her. Her mother nodded approvingly. "That's the spirit, Adama. Remember, true friendship is more important than any party invitation." A few days later, Prince Obi arrived at Chioma's house with a big smile on his face. He asked to speak with Chioma's parents, but he was told they had gone to the farm. So, he decided to wait patiently for their return. When Chioma's parents finally arrived, Prince Obi wasted no time. He stood tall and confidently declared, "I want to marry your daughter, Chioma." Chioma's parents were overjoyed and happily accepted Prince Obi's proposal. They immediately began planning for the big day, setting a date for the wedding. But as the excitement filled the air, Adama's heart sank. She couldn't lose Obi to her sister. Tears welled up in her eyes as she ran to her room, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. "I can't watch Chioma take away the only man that I have ever loved. Never. It won't happen," Adama vowed, her voice filled with determination. She wiped away her tears and plotted to keep Prince Obi by her side, where she believed he belonged. That night, Adama couldn't sleep. As she lay in bed, her mind raced with thoughts of how to win Prince Obi's heart. She tossed and turned, unable to sleep. "I can't let Chioma marry Prince Obi," she whispered to herself, her voice filled with determination. "He belongs with me." With a steely resolve, Adama promised herself that she would do whatever it took to make Prince Obi see that she was the one meant to be by his side, forever. She knew she had to act fast before it was too late, and as she drifted off into a restless sleep, she vowed to make her dreams of love and happiness a reality. The next day, fueled by her determination to win Prince Obi's heart, Adama set out on a risky path. She had heard whispers of a powerful native doctor who could grant wishes, no matter how impossible they seemed. With a sense of desperation driving her, Adama ventured deep into the heart of the forest to find the elusive healer. After hours of searching, she finally stumbled upon the secluded hut of the native doctor. With trembling hands and a pounding heart, Adama explained her predicament. She begged the native doctor for a charm that would take away her sister's beauty, believing that without her sister's allure, Prince Obi would finally see her as the one he truly desired. The native doctor, sensing Adama's desperation, agreed to help. With a solemn expression, he handed her a small pouch containing the mysterious charm. "Be warned," he cautioned, "for magic comes with consequences. Use this charm wisely, for once it is unleashed, there is no turning back." Filled with a mix of hope and trepidation, Adama thanked the native doctor and hurried back home. Clutching the charm tightly in her hand, she vowed to do whatever it took to make Prince Obi hers. But as she stared at the charm, a wave of doubt washed over her. Was this truly the right path to take? Could she live with the consequences of her actions? However, consumed by her obsession to win Prince Obi's love, Adama pushed aside her doubts. She didn't care about the potential consequences. All she could think about was achieving her goal. Following the instructions the native doctor gave her, Adama surreptitiously slipped the charm into Chioma's food that evening. As Chioma ate her meal, she thanked her sister Adama for her kindness and retired to bed, unaware of the dark magic at work. The next morning, Adama eagerly awaited the outcome of her actions. But as Chioma emerged from her room, her face twisted in horror. Overnight, her once beautiful features had been marred by a grotesque ugliness. Adama couldn't believe her eyes as she watched Chioma recoil from her reflection, tears streaming down her face. Deep down, Adama felt a twinge of happiness. Finally, Chioma won't be able to marry Prince Obi with this kind of face, she thought to herself, though she pretended to be sad for Chioma. When the prince came to see Chioma, she was so scared to go out that she refused to see him. Prince Obi was baffled. Why is Chioma hiding from me? Why doesn't she want to see me? He wondered to himself as he made his way home. But before he could ponder further, Adama ran to him, her eyes wide with excitement. "Prince Obi, I have something important to tell you," she exclaimed, her voice trembling with false concern. As Prince Obi listened intently, Adama wove a web of lies, telling him that Chioma was having an affair with a married man. "It's true. The man's wife cast a spell on Chioma out of jealousy," she insisted, her words dripping with deceit. Prince Obi was stunned, unable to comprehend the shocking revelation. "No, it can't be true," he exclaimed, his heart sinking with disbelief. Adama, her heart filled with twisted satisfaction, watched as Prince Obi's anger boiled over. "Not only is Chioma now ugly, but she's also slept with a married man," he fumed, his voice filled with righteous fury. Feeling proud of herself, Adama smiled as she watched Prince Obi's angry reaction. But deep down, she felt a little guilty for what she had done. Still, she pushed those feelings away, focusing only on her revenge against her sister. The next day, Prince Obi returned, determined to see Chioma, no matter what. This time, he went straight inside the house. When he saw Chioma, he couldn't believe his eyes. Her face had changed, but Prince Obi didn't care one bit. He walked up to her with a smile, his heart filled with love. "Chioma, you're still as beautiful as ever," he exclaimed, his voice full of sincerity. "No matter your present condition, I will still marry you." Chioma couldn't believe what she was hearing. Despite everything, Prince Obi still loved her. Tears welled up in her eyes as she embraced him tightly, feeling a wave of relief wash over her. When Adama saw that her plans didn't work, she felt frustrated. She knew she had to try something else to stop Prince Obi from marrying Chioma. So, she went back to the native doctor, determined to make her sister blind. The native doctor gave her the charms, and Adama wasted no time. She approached Chioma with a fake smile, pretending to bring her some special herbs to make her face beautiful. But when Chioma rubbed the charms on her face, she couldn't see a thing. "Father! Mother! Come quickly!" Chioma shouted, panic rising in her voice. "Adama has blinded me!" Her parents rushed to her side, horrified by what they saw. But when they questioned Adama, she denied everything, claiming that Chioma was going mad. Inside, Adama couldn't contain her happiness. The charms had worked. Now, she believed, Prince Obi would be all hers. According to their tradition, a prince couldn't marry a blind woman. With a wicked smile, Adama plotted her next move, determined to make Prince Obi hers at any cost. Chioma's world was plunged into darkness. She felt scared and alone, unable to see the faces of her loved ones or navigate the world around here. "Why did this happen to me?" she cried, her voice filled with despair. As rumors spread throughout the village about Chioma's sudden blindness, Adama's deceitful smile widened. She reveled in the chaos she had caused, confident that Prince Obi would never marry a blind woman. When Prince Obi found out that Chioma was now blind, he was devastated. He knew that according to their tradition, he couldn't marry a blind girl. Prince Obi tried to talk to his father about the situation, but even though Prince Obi's father loved Chioma, there was nothing he could do. "Father, I love Chioma with all my heart, but now that she's blind, I don't know what to do," Prince Obi exclaimed, his voice filled with despair. Prince Obi's father listened carefully, his heart heavy with sadness. "I understand, son, but our tradition is strict and there are rules we must follow," he explained gently. Prince Obi felt helpless. He couldn't bear the thought of living without Chioma by his side. "But father, Chioma is the love of my life. I can't imagine marrying anyone else," he pleaded, his eyes filled with tears. His father sighed, wishing there was a way to change their fate. "I know, son, but sometimes we must accept things we cannot change," he said, his voice filled with regret. Despite his father's words, Prince Obi refused to give up hope. He vowed to find a way to be with Chioma, no matter the obstacles they faced. Prince Obi went to Chioma's house, his heart heavy with worry. He was surprised when Chioma asked him to marry her sister. "Are you out of your senses, Chioma?" he asked, shocked. "How can you ask me to marry your sister? What about you?" Chioma sighed, her voice filled with sadness. "I know, Obi, but you can't marry me because of my condition. Me and my sister are one, okay?" she explained, trying to hold back her tears. Prince Obi was torn. He couldn't bear the thought of marrying anyone other than Chioma. "I understand, Chioma, but I have to think about this," he said, his mind swirling with confusion. As Prince Obi left Chioma's house, his heart weighed down by the difficult decision ahead. He knew that whatever he chose, it would change their lives forever. Obi got home and told his mother about Chioma, suggesting he marry her sister, Adama. Prince Obi's mother was thrilled. "Yes, Obi, marry her. You know I love her so much. You know I never liked that Chioma. She was so full of herself, lazy. I don't even want you to marry her," she exclaimed. "But mother, Chioma has changed. She is no longer who you used to know," Obi said with a worried face. "I don't care, okay? I still don't like her. You have to marry Adama. She is the one I have been telling you to marry. I mean, she is very intelligent. She has once saved our village," Obi's mother insisted. "It's okay, mother. I will have to think about it," Obi replied, his mind filled with uncertainty. As he pondered his mother's words, he realized that the decision ahead of him would shape the course of his future. And as he wrestled with conflicting emotions, he prayed for guidance in choosing the right path. Chioma's parents were curious and asked her why she suggested her sister get married to Obi. "It's okay, Mum. I just don't want Obi to marry another woman. You know I love him so much and wouldn't want him to marry from another family," Chioma explained with a determined smile. Her parents understood her feelings and agreed with her. With their blessings, the wedding date was fixed, and Obi married Adama amidst joy and celebration in the village. "Congratulations, Obi and Adama," the villagers cheered, their voices ringing with happiness. But despite her own feelings, Chioma put on a brave face, determined to see her sister happy. "I'm happy for you, Adama," she whispered, her voice tinged with bittersweet emotion. As the wedding celebrations continued, Chioma reflected on her decision to sacrifice her own happiness for the sake of the man she loved. Sometimes, love means putting others' happiness before your own, she mused, her thoughts drifting to the memories she shared with Obi. As the days passed, Chioma found herself struggling to come to terms with her decision. Despite putting on a brave face, her heart ached with longing for Obi. She couldn't shake the feeling that she had made a mistake by sacrificing her own happiness. Meanwhile, Prince Obi and Adama's marriage faced its own challenges. While they were initially filled with joy and excitement, cracks began to form in their relationship. Adama's jealousy and manipulative ways caused tension between them, leaving Prince Obi feeling trapped and conflicted. Meanwhile, Adama's relationship with Prince Obi's mother, the Queen, soured as well. Adama would often clash with the Queen, constantly nagging and disregarding the rules of the palace. She would come and go as she pleased, ignoring the traditions and expectations of royal life. To make matters worse, Adama would sometimes bring her friends to the palace to party, much to the king's dismay. The king, already frustrated by Adama's disrespectful behavior, was outraged by her blatant disregard for palace etiquette. The tension between Adama and the royal family reached a breaking point, with Prince Obi caught in the middle. Despite his efforts to mediate, the conflicts only seemed to escalate, threatening to tear apart the fragile bonds of their marriage and the harmony of the palace. Prince Obi's frustration reached a boiling point as he blamed his mother for the predicament he found himself in. "It's all your fault, mother," he exclaimed, his voice filled with anger and resentment. "You pushed me to marry Adama instead of Chioma, and now look at the mess we're in." The Queen, taken aback by her son's outburst, tried to defend her actions. "I only wanted what was best for you, Obi," she insisted, her voice tinged with regret. "I thought Adama was the right choice, but I see now that I was wrong." But Prince Obi was unwilling to listen. "Wrong? You were more than wrong, mother. You've ruined everything," he shouted, his frustration boiling over. The Queen couldn't take it anymore. "How do you expect me to agree with you to marry a blind girl? That's just not possible," she exclaimed, her voice trembling with frustration and sadness. Prince Obi felt a pang of guilt as his mother spoke. He realized he'd been unfair to her. "I'm sorry, mother," he muttered, his voice filled with regret. But before he could say more, the Queen turned and left the room, her heart heavy with sorrow. Prince Obi watched her go, feeling a sense of sadness wash over him. Alone with his thoughts, Prince Obi knew he had to make things right. He couldn't bear the thought of his mother being upset because of him. Determined to mend their relationship, he set out to find her, hoping to make amends and rebuild the bond they once shared. As Prince Obi searched for his mother, he couldn't shake the feeling of guilt that weighed heavily on his heart. He found her sitting alone in the garden, her face reflecting the sadness in her eyes. "Mother, I'm sorry," Prince Obi said softly, his voice filled with sincerity. "I shouldn't have blamed you. It wasn't fair." The Queen looked up, surprised by her son's apology. "Oh, Obi," she replied, her voice trembling with emotion. "I only wanted what was best for you. I never meant to cause you pain." Tears welled up in Prince Obi's eyes as he realized the depth of his mother's love for him. "I know, Mother. I understand now," he said, reaching out to embrace her. The next day, the king summoned Prince Obi to discuss Adama's behavior. "Obi," the king began, his voice firm, "I used to admire Adama's intelligence and bravery, especially after she helped the villagers. But I won't tolerate her nonsense behavior in the palace any longer. Prince Obi listened attentively, knowing that his father's words carried great weight. "She can't continue to disrespect me and disobey the palace rules," the king continued. "You must send her back to her parents." Prince Obi felt torn. While he understood his father's concerns, he couldn't help but feel conflicted about what to do next. After the king's discussion with Prince Obi, he sought out Adama and found her in the palace garden. With a heavy heart, Prince Obi gently broke the news to Adama, knowing it would be difficult for her to hear. "Adama," he began, his voice steady but filled with concern. "My father has reached a difficult conclusion." Adama's initial shock quickly turned into a storm of anger. Her eyes blazed with fury as she absorbed the gravity of the situation. "What?" she erupted, her voice shattering the peaceful atmosphere of the garden. "How dare he? After all I've done for this ungrateful kingdom!" As Adama's anger escalated, she lashed out, insulting the king and questioning his judgment. "He's ungrateful and clueless," she spat, her words dripping with disdain. "He doesn't appreciate anything I've done." But Prince Obi, unable to tolerate Adama's disrespect towards his father, intervened firmly. "Enough, Adama," he declared, his voice cutting through her tirade. "You are out of line. Your behavior is utterly disgraceful." With a heavy heart, Prince Obi continued, expressing his regret for ever marrying Adama. "I wish I had never married you," he admitted, his tone filled with sadness. "Your manners are appalling, and your disrespect is unforgivable." In a final decree, Prince Obi made it clear that Adama's time in the palace was over. "You must leave in a few days' time," he stated firmly, his words leaving no room for argument. "Whether you like it or not." Driven by desperation, Adama sought the counsel of a local native doctor, hoping for a solution to her predicament. With a glimmer of hope in her heart, she listened intently as the doctor outlined his plan to charm Prince Obi and the king into letting her stay in the palace. With each word, Adama's anticipation grew, convinced that this was her ticket to securing her place in the palace, once and for all. Returning home, Adama wasted no time in putting the charm into action. With trembling hands, she followed the doctor's instruction, her heart pounding with anticipation. But as the charm took effect, something went horribly wrong. Instead of feeling the surge of power she had expected, Adama was engulfed in a wave of excruciating pain. She cried out in agony, clutching her head as her vision blurred and her senses spun out of control. The palace echoed with her anguished shouts, alarming everyone within earshot. Servants rushed to Adama's side, their faces etched with concern as they tried to calm her down. But the pain was relentless, and Adama's cries grew louder with each passing moment. It was clear that her attempt to manipulate fate had backfired spectacularly, leaving her to face the consequences of her actions alone. As the commotion reached the ears of the king and queen, they hurried to Adama's side, their faces filled with concern. "What is happening here?" the king demanded, his voice stern. But Adama remained silent, refusing to speak until Prince Obi arrived. Just then, Prince Obi entered the room, his brow furrowed in confusion. "What's going on?" he asked, his eyes widening in surprise as he saw Adama writhing in pain. Adama's confession came tumbling out in a rush of words. I'm responsible for Kioma's blindness and ugliness," she cried, her voice filled with guilt. "I was jealous of her beauty, even though I'm more intelligent. But all the handsome men in the village always choose her over me." As Adama's admission hung in the air, a miraculous transformation took place. Before their eyes, Kioma's sight returned, and her beauty was restored in an instant. With a gasp of disbelief, Kioma realized what had happened and wasted no time in rushing to the palace to find Prince Obi. As Prince Obi laid eyes on Kioma, his breath caught in his throat. He was struck by her radiant beauty, now restored to its former glory. A sense of awe and wonder washed over him, mingled with relief and joy at seeing his beloved Kioma whole again. The palace erupted with gasps and whispers as word spread of Kioma's miraculous transformation. Servants and courtiers alike marveled at the sight before them, unable to contain their astonishment at the wondrous turn of events. Amidst the chaos, Adama fell to her knees, her heart heavy with regret and remorse. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she begged Kioma for forgiveness, her words filled with sorrow and desperation. "Please, Kioma," she pleaded, her voice choked with emotion. "I'm so sorry for what I've done. Please forgive me." Kioma's heart softened as she looked upon her sister, her eyes brimming with compassion. With a gentle nod, she forgave Adama, her forgiveness a beacon of hope amidst the turmoil. But Prince Obi knew that justice must be served. With a heavy heart, he asked Adama to pack her belongings and leave the palace. Despite her tearful protests and pleas for mercy, Prince Obi remained resolute. "I'm sorry, Adama," he said, his voice tinged with sadness. "But you must face the consequences of your actions." And so, with tears of regret and remorse, Adama bid farewell to the palace that had once been her home. As she departed, she carried with her the weight of her mistakes, knowing that forgiveness was a gift she could never fully repay. And as she vanished into the distance, the palace stood silent, a testament to the power of love, forgiveness, and redemption. When Adama arrived home, her parents, who had just returned from the farm, were shocked to see her there. They anxiously inquired about Kioma, unaware of the events that had unfolded. With a heavy heart, Adama recounted the entire story, her voice trembling with guilt and shame. Her parents were horrified by Adama's actions, unable to comprehend how she could harm her own sister in such a cruel manner. Despite Adama's tearful pleas for forgiveness, they remained unmoved. "You must leave our house and never return," they declared, their voices stern and resolute. Adama's world crumbled around her as her parents rejected her, refusing to listen to her pleas for reconciliation. They branded her as evil and wicked, fearing that if she could harm her own sister, she was capable of even greater atrocities. No amount of begging or pleading could sway their decision. Heartbroken and alone, Adama left her parents' house, her hopes dashed and her spirit broken. In her despair, she vowed to make everyone pay for her suffering, including Kioma and Prince Obi. Despite the lessons she had been taught, Adama's heart remained consumed by bitterness and resentment, leading her down a path of darkness and revenge. Seeking solace in the company of a friend, Adama found herself welcomed into the home of someone equally cunning and deceitful. As she poured out her tale of woe, her friend's eyes flashed with anger and indignation. "That prince is wicked," her friend exclaimed, her voice dripping with venom. "He must be dealt with." Adama nodded fervently in agreement, her own resentment fueling her desire for revenge. With a wicked gleam in her eye, her friend vowed to take her to a powerful native doctor, one who could help them exact their vengeance upon Prince Obi and anyone else who stood in their way. As Adama's friend led her to the powerful native doctor, their hearts brimmed with anticipation of the revenge they sought against Kioma. With trepidation and eagerness swirling within them, they arrived at the secluded hut where the native doctor dwelled, hoping for a solution to their sinister desires. With a solemn expression, the native doctor listened to their request. However, to their dismay, he shook his head gravely. "I cannot grant your wish to kill Kioma," he said, his voice carrying the weight of centuries-old wisdom. "Her spirit is too strong." Adama's heart sank at the news, her dreams of vengeance slipping through her fingers like sand. Yet, determined, she implored the native doctor for an alternative solution. "There must be something you can do to weaken her," she pleaded, her voice laced with desperation. The native doctor pondered for a moment before nodding slowly. "I can create a potion to cloud her mind and drive her to madness," he offered, his words tinged with caution. "But be warned, the consequences could be dire." With determined hearts, Adama and her friend grasped onto the native doctor's offer, eager to cloud Kioma's mind and drive her to madness. They were willing to risk it all for revenge, blinded by their desire to claim Prince Obi for themselves. But they couldn't foresee the dangerous path they were about to embark on, and the consequences that would follow their reckless actions. Adama had a sneaky plan to trick Kioma into leaving the safety of the palace. She asked a palace maid, who was busy with errands, to give Kioma a fake message. The maid hurried to Kioma, looking worried, and told her that Adama was really sick and needed her help right away. Kioma felt worried for her sister and quickly got ready to go. But before leaving, she stopped and prayed for guidance and protection. With each word, she felt stronger and more ready to face whatever lay ahead. With a brave heart, Kioma set out, unaware of the danger awaiting her. As Kioma walked towards Adama, she felt worried about her sister. Even though she felt uneasy, she kept going because she loved Adama so much. Adama was waiting eagerly for Kioma to arrive, getting closer to her sneaky plan. When Kioma got closer, Adama felt excited and mean, knowing she would soon have her sister with her. But Kioma also felt something wasn't right. She couldn't ignore the feeling that something bad might happen. Still, she kept going, determined to help her sister. When Kioma laid eyes on Adama, she couldn't believe her sister's deceit. "Why did you trick me into coming here?" Kioma demanded, her voice tinged with anger. Adama explained that she hadn't been herself since leaving the palace and wanted to apologize again. "I just want to apologize again," Adama pleaded, hoping for forgiveness. Kioma, still hurt, eventually relented. "Okay, I forgive you," she sighed, though the hurt lingered. Trying to make amends, Adama offered Kioma her favorite dish. "I made it just for you," she exclaimed eagerly. Kioma hesitated at first, but the aroma proved too tempting to resist. With a reluctant nod, she took a bite. As the flavors danced on her tongue, Kioma's heart softened. "Thank you," she murmured, her anger melting away. With a sense of closure, she bid Adama farewell and headed home, a weight lifted from her shoulders. As Kioma walked away, Adama couldn't contain her delight. "Yes! I have finally got her!" she exclaimed triumphantly, her laughter echoing with sinister satisfaction. "Let me see how she will marry the prince now." With a wicked gleam in her eyes, Adama was happy that her sneaky plan was working. When Kioma got back home, she bumped into Prince Obi, who wanted to know where she had been. She told him everything, but when he heard she had eaten at Adama's house, he got really mad. "You went there and even ate. Kioma, you never seem to learn," Obi exclaimed, clearly upset. Kioma quickly said sorry and promised not to do it again. When Adama found out that nothing happened to Kioma after eating the food she gave her, she became even angrier. Her hatred for Kioma and Prince Obi grew stronger than ever. Fuming with rage, she stormed back to the native doctor, demanding to know why her plan had failed. "I want to kill Keoma this time," she declared furiously. But the native doctor refused, warning her that Keoma carried royal blood. "Oh, wow! So Keoma is pregnant and she didn't even tell me about it," Adama exclaimed, her anger boiling over. But the native doctor cautioned her against doing anything foolish, emphasizing that it would only bring harm upon herself. Adama, seething with frustration, reluctantly backed down, her mind churning with thoughts of revenge. When Adama returned home, she spilled everything to her friend about what the native doctor had said. "Don't mind him," her best friend exclaimed dismissively. "That man doesn't know anything. He's just too old and clueless." Determined to help, her best friend promised to take Adama to a much stronger native doctor. "I know just the person who can help us," she declared confidently. The next day, Adama and her wicked best friend set off to the neighboring village. There, the native doctor greeted them with a sly grin. "Ah, you've come seeking power, haven't you?" he chuckled. Handing Adama some powerful charms, he gave her detailed instructions on how to use them. "With these charms, you'll get what you want," he assured Adama, his eyes gleaming with mischief. Thrilled with the promise of newfound power, Adama eagerly accepted the charms and listened intently to the native doctor's instructions. "Thank you so much," she exclaimed gratefully, her heart pounding with excitement. With her best friend by her side, Adama returned home, brimming with confidence and determination. "Now, we'll see who's in control," she declared triumphantly, her eyes sparkling with malice. As they plotted their next move, Adama's best friend grinned wickedly. "We'll show them what we're made of," she exclaimed, her voice dripping with anticipation. With their sinister plan in motion and the power of dark magic at their disposal, Adama and her wicked friend were ready to unleash chaos upon the kingdom, unaware of the dangerous consequences that lay ahead. At early morning, Adama woke up and started calling Keoma's name. Unbeknownst to her, Keoma was in deep prayers in the palace. As she continued to call Keoma's name, a thunderous light from above struck her, and Adama tragically lost her life. Meanwhile, her evil friend was rushing to help her, but tripped and fell, breaking her own legs with a loud crash. She couldn't move and began shouting for help. Villagers rushed to the scene, shocked by the commotion. Amidst the chaos, Adama's friend confessed all their evil plans. The villagers were stunned, and they took her to the palace. There, she also confessed everything to the king. Upon hearing the truth, the king's eyes flashed with anger. "Banish her from the kingdom," he decreed, his voice echoing with authority. "Let her never set foot in our lands again." With justice served, the villagers breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that peace would once again reign in their kingdom. And though Adama's life ended tragically, her evil schemes were finally put to rest. As everyone heard about what happened to Adama, Keoma and Prince Obi felt really shocked and sad. Even though Adama did bad things, they still felt sorry that she died. Keoma cried a lot for her sister, remembering the times they used to be close. She felt really sad about how things turned out. Prince Obi also felt sad, thinking about all the lies and tricks that happened. But Adama's parents didn't feel sorry for her. They knew how bad she was, and they thought she got what she deserved. She was just too evil, they said sadly. They hoped she could find peace now, away from all the bad things she did. As the village mourned, they hoped that what happened to Adama would teach everyone a lesson. They promised to keep their friendship strong and not let jealousy or lies ruin things. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe, like, and share it with your friends. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Help us reach 1,000 subscribers so we can bring you even more captivating stories in the future. Your support means the world to us.